Welcome back, everybody, to Sir Henry's Haunted Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Galeros. To my left here is Calvin.
Hey, yeah, my name is Calvin. I'm the show director out here at Sir Henry's Haunted Trail.
And to my right is our consultant, Josh.
You gotta give me a title for something.
JGG!
Oh, look at this. Hey, shout out to the boy in brown.
Hey. So welcome. Thanks for joining us again this week on our podcast episode. If you missed episode 1, be sure to go check it out. It's all about our new Headless Trail. We debut all the new sets we built for 2021. So that 2022.
But it is
2021 was so rough with the stuff we built. I'm still mentally.
It is very.
And we'll probably get in episode 3 or 4 because we got a lot going on this one here.
Highly recommended to watch episode 1. There's a lot of foreshadowing for this.
A lot of foreshadowing. It's other stuff. But anyway, so we got you back here for episode 2. Episode 2, we're all going to talk about our humble beginnings.
Humble.
That humble, not even a word. Black plastic beginnings. That's a better way to put it. A lot of people always ask me, hey, how'd you get into haunting? Or, what's the story behind it all? And my answer is always I used to do this at my parents' house, my cousin here. And,
but not brothers, hashtag.
Wait, hold on. Let's get this right. He started without me.
Yeah, I did.
And then he was... you gotta come down.
Then all my friends got tired of doing it, so I dragged you into it.
Not to bounce around too much, but going into this episode, you guys are hearing these stories for the first time, and also most of these are going to be my first time hearing these because I wasn't here from the start.
So we opened Sir Henry's Haunted Trail 2014. Calvin joined us 2017. And before 2014, me and Josh were just home haunting. So a lot of it's going to be new for Calvin, and these are the untold stories of Sir Henry's Haunted Trail.
Yeah, so I'm excited for this episode. You guys should be too, because this one's just it's gonna be a ride. It's gonna be a funny show. I have a whole folder here of photos that I have never seen. Old classic cringy photos. Oh, I'm so excited! It's gonna be
not
great.
Even the word.
I've seen a couple.
Talk about the first time I got to go to Goodwill and buy in the women's section.
Oh, we're gonna talk about it.
Dude, I'm so excited. Anyways, let's
get into it. So where this all began was at my parents' house in the front yard for Halloween. I grew up loving Halloween, still do. So obviously, but weird, right?
Very interesting.
So I grew up loving Halloween. My birthday's right around 2 days before Halloween. So my parents.
Oh wait, hold on. Your birthday's in October. Mine is too.
Yeah, it's not 2 days before Halloween.
Yeah, and mine's in May.
I don't remember going to Halloween-themed birthdays when you were 6 years old.
Well,
It was at the Family Fun Center.
That sounds lit.
Well,
that was pretty cool.
I was all about party. I'm Pontius. Party boy Pontius.
Okay. That's a new nickname.
PBB.
So anyway, so growing up around Halloween, loved doing the displays, and somehow I found a fascination for making props and doing the cool displays in the yard.
I mean, we had to make movies back in the day too.
This episode's gonna be 2 hours long.
We're not going to talk about is our homemade movies. We did a documentary on the Civil War with just 2 actors, 1 and 2.
No, there were 5.
Yeah, because I brought in some other friends too.
No, maybe 6.
We won't drop their names, but I've explored all areas of art from a small child to now. So
this is gonna be a drinking episode.
This episode might end up being 2 hours long.
But anyway, so we started there, and so it was 2009. And so once I stopped trick or treating, I kind of took more time to set up more decorations in the yard.
I was 7 years old.
And you can do math.
In 2000, I just had to count on my fingers and do 2009 minus a 2. No, but you can do the rest of the math.
So 2009, I kind of started being a little more serious about it, and so I wrangled this guy into it. And he fun fact, we actually, as close as we were growing up, we never spent Halloween together until we were 16 to 17 years old. Anyway, 2009, he doesn't really scare people. It feels like decades ago. So he doesn't really scare people. I'm like, okay, this is how we do this. You're going to dress up as he's this alien and pop out a bush at people, which, shout out to our dear friend Johnny Bront over at Haunt Scene. He always jokes about, and because I made a joke with him one time, I'm doing a haunted alien trail. Well, actually, there's context to this, and this is the context. One of the first times we ever did the home hunt, Josh dressed up as a bush alien.
Well, and the problem was we went out and we found the mask.
It was
first.
a cool old mask.
I
We
mean,
didn't know anything.
It was fun. It was
fun.
Mask, and he's like, "Here's a mask," and I'm like, "All right, what am I gonna wear with it?" And, I don't know. At the time,
To
I
this
was
day.
really into like turkey hunting and deer hunting, and I had this thing in my head because I was poor of I'm gonna make my own ghillie suit.
Yeah.
I literally went to Home Depot and took burlap fabric and cut the ends off and pulled all the strings out of the burlap and had like 6 different buckets and dyed them with RIT dye and we started tying them on a jacket together. It was quite remarkable.
Oh.
I think the U.S. Marine Corps would have been happy with the amount of dedication I was taking to this ghillie suit. And of course, Zach had me wear this.
There's a picture. We spent the night before this episode. We spent, both of us were looking on MySpace.
I'm dying to see this
Most of you don't even
picture.
know what MySpace is. We were on there for hours trying to find this old picture. I don't think it exists anymore. So now we got to reboot a hard drive to find this picture. But my image is you sitting in the little camping chair next to the holly tree, and the alien mask is gonna.
Didn't at one point I had like white tube socks on? And you're like, "Oh no, I got some black socks for you."
Yeah,
I'm putting it over here.
And
You put on some black dress socks of mine.
That's 101, man. All
Yeah, 'cause you
black.
didn't wear shoes all that night. You were
Yeah.
chasing people down the road.
Oh, yeah.
In socks.
Wait, so you guys, during the home haunt, you guys were open just Halloween night?
So
Just Halloween night.
here's the other thing with this. Most people think, home hunt, I'm gonna build a 65 panel thing in my backyard or whatever. That's not the approach we took. It was large, elaborate displays just in my front yard. It wasn't a maze or anything.
Yeah.
It was display, and that's how I did it every year. And that's what I knew. That's what we did. And I have no shame about that. It was cool. It was fun. It was different.
It was
so-
fun. There were people who came back every year.
Yeah.
And they would say, and actually, your first year you were open at Sir Henry's. There were some people that put some nasty stuff out, like, I can't believe they're not open. What the heck are
Yeah.
they doing?
I'm
They
like,
were
oh my-
really upset about
But
that.
because you didn't have the display
Yeah,
up?
because there was my parents' house was a
You should have
pitch
done-
black.
you should have
and
done
his
both.
parents were kind of concerned, like,
Yeah.
are they going to come egg our house tonight after
Well, because
Halloween?
like when I was a kid and I never lived in like a neighborhood like you.
Yeah.
So we would always go to other ones, but we always went to the same one that had a haunted house. The guy had a haunted house in his garage.
So I've never told this story, but when I was like 4 or 5 years old, be trick or treating. There was one house in our neighborhood. It was like 7 houses down or so, and they always did this elaborate display in their front yard. It always stuck out to me, and I'm like, I wasn't scared. I'm like, that's freaking cool. And I remember the last year they were there because it was real young when they moved, and then they never did it again. So I'm like, oh, I guess I got to take this over. But the guy had like a werewolf thing out there, and I'm like, and the way he was moving, I'm like, we can go pretty good with this. We can get like intense and in depth with this stuff. I'm like a 5-year-old kid. But years later, it came to fruition. But that always stuck with me as one of those early things. I know a lot of you out there probably think that's cool, but it was cool.
Well, I mean,
So-
like, you were in that neighborhood in Buckingham, which a little bit more upscale than neighborhood than I was in North Lakeland, and we still had some pretty cool places. And the people who would come into this neighborhood in North Lakeland, off of Kathleen and Duff, there was just, I mean, I remember when I was younger, you couldn't even get, I mean, we lived in the neighborhood, and it was like, this road's packed.
Yeah, and they would bring hay rides like in your neighborhood.
I feel like
tractor trailers.
I think I remember them doing that because
Yeah, and
I
that was
grew up.
so cool.
I grew up in the Midwest, and we talked about this first episode.
No wonder you're depressed.
Yeah. We talked about this in the first episode, but Midwest haunts are like super in your face, very intense, like rock shows.
Yeah.
So like that's what like the home haunt and like trick or treating atmosphere was
Yes.
like too. Just people playing Rob Zombie in their front yard and stuff like that. But I had a question. How long did you do the displays for?
Well, my parents always did displays, even from when I was a tiny baby.
Mm-hmm.
So there was always there. My dad kind of let me take it over with him. I don't know, when I was probably 11 or 12.
Okay. So when did it was
when
the
it got
home?
serious?
Yeah.
When it was 2009, we were like juniors, seniors in high school.
So was it immediately coined Sir Henry?
No, we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah. So I
This was
wanted to get
just-
to that.
Yeah, it's just Halloween. We're gonna have fun.
Okay.
And like I still have nightmares to this day, but it was always a thing. It's always been a thing with me. Like I'll have nightmares like, and it's Halloween, and I'm at my parents' house, and we're not set up, and the kids are coming. They're like, "Where's the stuff at?" I'm like, "Oh God, I'm setting stuff up." His kids are trick or treating.
Oh, he would. Well, for all those who don't know, I'm habitually late.
Oh, it's terrible.
I'm surprised we made it here on time.
By at least 30 minutes to an hour.
More
And
than that.
That's conservative.
If he's going to work at the trail, make it 2.5.
Yeah.
Well, today I'm pretty sure he told me 30 minutes prior to when I needed to be there.
Yeah.
Because he texted me and was like, "Hey, what's your ETA?" And luckily I was already on the road.
Yeah.
But
Luckily.
he would always get on to me when we were doing these home hots. "You gotta get ready, you gotta hurry up, you gotta be out there." I'm like, "It's still daylight, I can go out and have some candy, what's going on?"
I about lost my mind the last year we did it when we did clowns, and because I'm a very traditional person in the sense of like, okay, remember we'd always have to take it's like 5:00, we got to take our lineup of pictures everywhere in the yard or whatever. I would do all this stuff, and he wasn't here, and he didn't get there until like near dusk.
Ooh, you missed the picture?
Yeah, he missed the pictures. I'm like, oh, jeez.
Were you driving at the time, or were you blame it on my mom?
Yeah, no, he was driving.
Oh, wait.
I was like,
let's throw back to this. I was driving before Zach was driving, so that was the whole thing.
Yeah, it didn't make it easy to get supplies though. Whatever. But anyway, so the alien, that was our first year, and then this was fun. Maybe we can do more with this. So the next year after that, we were in Lowe's. I remember this, and you're like, so what do you think for Halloween? And I'm like, well, I got an idea. You want to hear it? And you're like, yeah, give it to me. I'm like, well, I think you should do like a witch. And okay, whatever, let's do it.
Oh, yeah.
Picture
So
on screen.
Picture on screen. We go to Goodwill. First time going to Goodwill, shopping in the women's clothing section.
All right, so let's talk about this. Me being a guy who doesn't really know, I go on the women's clothing section. I put
Shop there
on
so
this
much.
whole...
All these buttons are backwards.
Yeah,
was a
well,
zipper.
no. The worst part is the zipper, and I thought it was so cool, so I take it to school.
Oh, yeah.
High school, and it's
High
He didn't
school,
have the
no.
prosthetics on. He was just wearing the outfit
I was just wearing that. I ran
with the wig.
down the middle of our car line with this outfit on, to which one of the ladies goes, "Hey, by the way, you got that skirt on backwards."
That's so weird.
And I'm like, huh? I'm like, there's a zipper here. It's for
Put the zipper in the
access.
front so I can go in the back.
And she's like, "No, that isn't how it works on ladies." The fun fact is, after I turned that around, I was like, "Oh, I can run so much better."
Yeah, this
It wasn't backwards.
This is much more comfortable.
This was
Form
way-
fitting.
So,
Yeah.
was this Beatrice at the time?
No. Beatrice.
That's
All
special.
of the names came later.
Okay.
This is no name heaven right now.
Yeah,
okay?
no.
And
These
this
are
was-
just ideas.
And this was 2010.
So this was 2010.
And that's
Okay.
the witch.
That was the witch. But
The witch.
we had so much fun with this. I also did a cool character. There's a picture on the screen right now. And Josh still talks about this character today too. The jack-o'-lantern. And you guys can see I have a style. Yeah, whatever.
He had his little remote. It's like his first time as
Oh
an
no!
animatronics.
My animatronic was a light switch with a remote control that I could turn a light on with me and pop out at people.
Yeah.
High tech stuff here,
This is
guys.
crazy.
A fog
Now,
machine.
but let's go back to the commitment of this witch here. I had on a prosthetic. I
Yeah.
went to several different stores. I got glue on nails.
Fake nails. We had fake
Yeah.
nails.
Oh, yeah. You showed me a picture.
Oh man, and it took days for those things to come off.
Yeah.
So I went back to school with fake nails on. It's
Well, that's
fantastic.
like when I first started. Like, I couldn't get my makeup fully off, and I'd have like guy liner in high school.
But he also had I don't even know where I was going with that. No, that was where I was going. You stood on that mailbox all night long.
Oh, yes.
And the mailbox is like over 5 foot tall.
Well,
and
it's
he would
like-
jump down and chase people.
Oh yeah, I was on that mailbox like a statue, and people were like, "Oh, that's a pretty cool prop." And I jump off of it and run after them down the street.
Chase
and
them.
then I had to get back up there. There's no ladder. I had to I must have been really fit that year.
Wait, so what?
was that the year you were trying to train me to play football?
Probably.
So-
That's another
So
story.
we figured it out. You were 18 in 2018.
No,
2010,
That's what.
yeah,
Yeah.
you would have been 18, yeah.
20.
2010.
You just decided.
Yes.
Yeah, I
20 minutes ago.
I
just
just
turned
turned 18.
So this was
Yeah, that was my senior year.
this is my freshman year of college. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you came back.
Oh,
now.
we gotta have the picture of Tebow in here, man.
Yeah, go Tebow. Go Gators. So that was that. But my biggest takeaway from the witch thing was that, like, dude, we've got like a knack for like entertaining people, not just scaring people, and then we did that well. But like, it was the whole entertaining aspect, because you had this whole voice, the cackling, high pitched voice, which I still love to this day. But that was such a big thing for me. Like, oh man, we can take this somewhere. Like, it was really the foundation of Sir Henry's Haunted Trail is built off of me and Josh and the stuff we did at my parents' house.
And still to this day, that's what we go by. Is we're trying to entertain people.
I don't care about being, not being, but having the biggest, nastiest, grossest thing that scares you to the point of tears. That's no fun. You know, when we were just going back to the house and we would scare people, they'd be laughing, you know. They would be scared,
yeah.
But it was a fun
I mean,
kind
the
of
very
scare.
first year with me of the alien, I scared, and I'm not going to mention his name, but he lived in Zach's neighborhood, and it had like a long little walkway that go to the front door. I scared him, but I didn't even really like try. I just kind of
Yeah.
And he threw his bag of candy
Whole bag, full bag.
past the front door into the neighbor's yard and just ran down the
Left
street.
the candy.
Yeah.
Left it.
We
I
had to
mean,
go
we got a new
trick-or-treating.
pillowcase out of it.
Sweet.
We had some candy.
That's
the
a
most
prop.
important thing.
And
That's
it
a
was
new
great-
prop.
and-
We need Skittles on this podcast.
Yeah, we
I
really
was
do.
literally just thinking that I should have brought those Laffy Taffies that you gave her.
Oh,
no,
man, I'll
please.
tell
I
you.
gave him the banana laugh.
Oh, well, he
We're gonna have Skittles on it.
doesn't
next
like
time.
orange.
That
Orange
there's
is
more
a
audio
seasonal
texture.
thing for me. Orange is a seasonal.
Do you want to dive into that?
No, we got too much
Okay.
to get into.
Oh, there's so much more.
So
We haven't
much
even
content.
got to the great year
All right,
in
so-
the tree.
We
So
got
that was the
2018, which is The Witch. What did-
2010.
2010. I don't know why I keep
Confusing
saying.
her guess.
And then
So the following year, Josh is 2011. Josh is visiting me in Gainesville, and we're like, okay, what are we gonna do? I said, I've got this idea. That's how all the great stuff starts. I'm like, we should do a ghost, but not just a ghost. Let's do a banshee. And
photo on screen.
photo on screen. Here's a picture of the banshee, and you can see my awesome graphic design skills.
Oh boy! Now
Beware of banshee.
let's go into this banshee here. It took I'm not gonna kid you, all day of me walking around with Zach into various stores for him to figure out what we really wanted to do, and then it finally hits him bed sheet at Walmart.
Yeah, we got a bed sheet at Walmart. We got the mask at Walmart too, and you'll notice
That mask isn't half bad though.
The mask was cool.
It was a cool
For a
idea.
Walmart like plastic. Yeah.
We go
$10.
back to his apartment.
there we
He
are.
starts carving it up, but we don't know how to sew. We don't know how to sew.
No.
He's over here. Let me take the staple gun out.
I'm stapling.
No way.
Stapling the shape and everything, and it was the and we had to get it fixed because it didn't really actually fit right. And then here's the kicker: we're like, what would be bad is if we hung you in a tree. So I'm doing.
Well, hold on. Before we
we
no,
get to-
go back. So go back. No, go back one more.
Back.
So if you're looking at this picture, you're gonna wonder like, why is it pink? Well, there's a specific reason, because most everything goes back to my childhood for me. I had this book, the Berenstain Bears book, and it was a Halloween book, and I'll never forget it. It was like it pressed the button and it made a noise thing. Child of the '90s. And there was one section that was like this banshee section, and the banshees in there were creepy.
And the Bernstein Bears?
And the Berenstain Bears. And they were creepy as hell, but they were pink. So the pink tool is a throwback to that. It's not just
A reference that only you would get.
Yes.
Yeah. I know.
But now everybody
Still
gets
to
it.
this day.
But that was for me. It wasn't like, oh it's whatever, banshee. Anyway, so I'm like, yeah, we're going to put you in a tree.
And so I had to sit here and do this research because I'm like, if I'm going to hang in this tree, I don't want this tree to fall. So I did all this research, made this rigging, and I got this harness. Lo and behold, that is not the right harness.
Was not the right harness.
For me to wear for 4 hours during the night.
Wait, you didn't get down from the tree?
No.
I got down twice
He
because I could not take it anymore. This man was so pissed that I had to come out of the tree. I'm begging him, Zach, you gotta come let me out of the tree.
No,
To
let
this
me
day.
tell my version. So he gets up in a tree. Now we had tested this. This wasn't a night. We tested it before, and everything seemed fine. We added some cushion because we thought,
well, after the first test,
Well, so what was wrong with the harness?
It was just a safety harness.
Oh, like for a lift?
So
for
it
like
was,
a fall.
Yeah.
It was going, around his groin crotch area. So when he gets up in a tree, it's about trick or treat time. Like I see the first trick or treatants getting ready to turn the corner. I'm like, you gotta be ready. And he's like, I can do the first one, but I gotta get down. I'm mad as hell right now.
This is so Zach has calmed down over the years. He used to be
yeah.
an angry Malika.
Yeah, it was yeah.
Edgy, I think is more politically correct.
I don't care what you call it, but he was meaner than piss.
What?
Like a hound dog.
What
Pitbull.
What the hell did you do in the trees?
So I got the ladder out. He's got to like reach behind him
and unscrew
the C clamps, lift up on the ladder, get down. And so he gets down or whatever. He goes, I think you iced? You put ice on that?
I put ice on my legs because I kid you not, I was losing circulation in
How
my
long
legs.
were you in the tree for?
So he was down for about 20 minutes. And this is probably around 6:30, 7 o'clock. Missed a couple trick-or-treaters, but this was... and we'll talk about it after we get to this.
This was the younger trick-or-treaters.
Yeah, and this was also the first year Sir Henry was incarnated. This was the birth year
of Sir
Sir
Henry.
Henry,
So what is this?
2011.
2011.
So
I
didn't have a name for him. But so yeah, Josh goes, he ices down, and then to his credit, after that he gets back up in the tree and was there until like 9 o'clock. And I'll never get it too. There's this lady coming through. We have this on video. I'll have to see if I can find it, put it on there. But there's this lady, and she would go up there and she's like, that's not real. And she was tickling his feet.
Grabbed my feet. And I'm like, hey!
And then he started doing this noise. And then she freaked out. She's like, oh my God! So it was memorable. And this was also, like I said, this was the first year Sir Henry was ever born. And I never really talked to my characters. And I started talking, and that's kind of where the voice of Sir Henry was born.
Which is really just like now, like just your voice, but that box
people
changes
think
it
that's
just
a fun
little.
fact. People think Sir Henry's voice is because you can see I have a microphone. It's a voice changer. It's not a voice changer. It's my voice.
It's just the box, the actual like speaker just kind of makes it sound a little.
It's
more
a little
rough.
distorted, and I distort my voice a little bit. I'm not going to do you right now because I can only do it if I have the mask on. But yeah, no, that's a fun fact.
Well, it's just like peoples. I can't do peoples right now.
Yeah, and
I tried.
It's if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. So that was 2011. Great times, and a fun fact. I originally was not going to play that character as Sir Henry. I was gonna do a goblin that year.
Really?
I really wanted to do a goblin, and then I can't explain it any other way. Out of nowhere, I had this vision pop into my head. I can't explain it either way, of a skeleton in a vest, a bow tie, and a top hat. And I'm like, it's kind of a trickster.
Didn't you want to do a goblin
Yeah,
thing? Because I
it was
have
a
a
goblin.
green goblin mask.
I think we even bought stuff for it.
Yes, because I have it at the house. Fun fact, I don't throw away anything, just like Zach.
Yeah.
I have all these weird ass masks that Jenny does not like me keeping around the house.
So jumping back a little bit, so you just would fake being dead in the tree, and then
the whole setup was it's just a hanging prop, because I had hanging ghost around the yard or whatever.
Didn't you have like a fan on me? It was kind of
No,
blowing
I had no
a little
fan.
bit. I thought it was up.
It was a
tree.
strobe light.
And so these people would come by, and I would swing back and forth.
Yeah.
Oh,
so you're swinging in the dark.
It was like that's it right there.
And then people were like, at first, some people would be like, that's a pretty cool prop, and then they realize it real, and they would, oh hell no, no. They'd walk around. They weren't all about it. They were, whoo. And so, at the end of the night, Zach was pretty happy with it, but I was like, all right, that's the last time we're doing that. I'm never getting in a tree for you again.
That's what you said. And we got a picture of you after the night. That was a night.
Oh, that's
shot.
actually not a bad picture.
Well, it wasn't.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the next picture in this photo selection here.
There.
Can we show that one?
Yeah, we're showing that one.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Yeah. It was a rough night. Josh the Trooper, though.
Shout out, Josh.
When I was a lot younger and.
Yeah, ain't no way we could do that now.
Yeah. So Josh. Oh, no, you don't like to ruin the illusion. I was going to tell him about Peebles, but
no. Calvin's still learning how we do.
He doesn't like to tell people.
I mean, I'm cool about talking about Peebles.
People's, well, that is historical context.
Because
Blimpo's historical.
Well, because the only reason I went to it is because it's what you do is Peebles is not the same, but similar to like the dedication to being hung on a
Oh,
tree.
yeah, we'll
So,
talk about that.
Peebles
That's-
had a very humble beginning. He wasn't
Well,
anything
that's
the character.
Well,
that's
we'll
part
get to that.
three,
We'll get to
part
that.
4 of the humble
So
beginning.
so 2012.
This is where I was like, okay, now we got to build some cool stuff. So the property, our property that Sir Henry's is on now, there was a pile of just trash lumber, and I told Josh, well, actually, everything there's so many cool tiebacks, and this is why we're doing the podcast, so you guys can understand this. I got the idea to do the pirate theme in 2012 in 2011. Because there was this house, and I'm not sure if they still do it or not, in Celebration over near Orlando, that did this whole pirate display on their front yard. And we talked to the guy that year, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a construction guy, and I just get all these weird stuff, and I make all his cannons were made out of columns or whatever." And I'm like, "That's so cool! I'm doing a pirate thing next year." So,
You love pirates.
I love Pirates. Pirates of the Caribbean, one of my top favorite franchises.
And like you're a big pirate guy
We're
too,
both
right?
we
I mean,
might
you
have
should see me
made.
at the Buccaneers parade. I was pretty, wild out.
Ah, yeah. Well, we got to do Gasparilla one year, but
Oh,
but-
yeah.
So
Fun fact: my father did invade the Gasparilla parade one year, and he wasn't invited. So,
I think he just started. He dressed up like a pirate and just got on.
well, because they told him he couldn't be in it, and he was like, "So I can't be in it? Watch this." And just jumped on a ship.
Part of the show. Part of the show.
I
part of
mean,
the
if you're dressed as a pirate, you might as
So-
well.
As well.
So we did the pirate thing in 2012. Me and him built this the pirate ship was split in two. You can see on the picture here.
But
So Zach,
you missed the great part about we transported that over there.
We built it on our property, which is Mercer Henry's on Trail, and then brought over to my parents' house in Lakeland, and then set it all up the weekend before Halloween.
And they were so superstitious about people messing up their house.
We
had to break it down Halloween night and take it.
We took it
back.
So
to
at
Sir Henry's,
at
yeah.
12
Atlantic
o'clock
City.
at night, we're driving a pirate ship.
oh my
pirate ship
gosh.
on a trailer with my grandfather's truck. It's not even my Jeep. It was my grandfather's
like a
truck.
1995 Ford.
It was a 1992
Ford
F-150 stick shift.
Yeah.
He's in there with me. And we're like going along, we're watching out the mirrors, making sure nothing's falling off.
The cops
We're like
or
18
anything.
years old. Like,
Losing the booty.
Yeah,
out
we're
the
like
back.
20 at this point.
Yeah, it was pretty. I mean, we were young and we were just
So,
like.
but
let's get
Is this Zach in the front or
No,
that's
that's
Josh?
Josh.
That's
Josh
what I
in
thought.
front.
That was
I'm in
Josh and
black.
Zach in the
and
back.
fun fact, I'm wearing the mask I wore the previous year, which is the OG Sir Henry
Yep.
mask. I wore the first 2 years of Sir Henry's first year.
And that prosthetic.
That was
for
a
me
prosthetic.
That's a prosthetic?
Yeah, that's a
on you?
prosthetic.
Wow.
I
Yeah,
had
right?
a full range of motion. It was great.
It was cool.
And I still have that costume.
So
to this day.
yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, we save everything. But the cool thing about this, we did this the sets and stuff, and I had the plastic Bucky skeletons. But we actually started adding animatronics, and Josh built a thunder machine for this, lightning thunder machine.
Oh yeah,
boom, boom.
We found something on the internet, and I.
And this is
ordered-
back before. This is what? It's 2012. It's back before all this stuff is out
And
now.
I ordered a whole circuit board and had to solder it all together myself
Oh yeah.
for 120 circuits, built a little container so it wouldn't shock everybody. And
So you
But I
actually
the
think-
swords, I built those.
he
swords.
built those swords. He carved them out of steel or whatever.
Steel.
They're
Really?
actual steel. We still have them. And then the cannons, he rigged up where they would fire with a light and fog thing. We had a little complications with the fog, but it worked, and the whole sound effect and everything.
But so that's what I was gonna say is I think like this year this display I think is when you guys like turned a corner.
Yeah, absolutely. Because and then I did all kinds of stuff. I had a skeleton in a barrel, the classic drinking the thing.
Oh,
the
yeah.
water recirculating. That was
Yeah.
one of my favorite things. But we did so much with this, and I'll never forget it too. And it was a huge. It wasn't as scary, I think, as the previous years. But it wasn't about that. It was about
The
for
whole
us,
setup.
what we were able to do, and the fact that people were like, "Wow, look at the technology behind it all." Because I came the next day. I was in my front yard, and somebody stopped by, an older gentleman, and he was like, "Who did all that stuff? Like, I came by last night, and like, I do carpentry, and what y'all did was incredible." And I took that to heart, and I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I told Josh about it, and we were like, "Bro, we got something here. This is pretty freaking cool." So now I'm like, okay, pushing the buttons. That's what we can do. 2013. Oh, and scroll over a couple pictures because the Ledger came out that year too.
Yeah,
remember
that was the year the Ledger came out. And they
that
took
picture
photos
like
of
this.
us.
that's the picture I've seen. I didn't see
so
that.
the Ledger
other
came
one.
out, did this little bit. And
I
it
still
was-
have that.
Yeah.
In the what do you call that?
I
don't
mean,
even
framed
know.
it or whatever.
No, what was that? What was that back when you were back in elementary school and they like
Laminate?
Shadowbox?
laminated?
Yeah,
Oh,
laminated it.
So they came out and did this little feature, and I just thought it was the coolest. I mean, that for real,
That's a big moment. Being featured.
it was it was the moment.
Yeah, being featured in the newspaper is huge.
Well,
Yeah.
back then too,
Yeah,
because
that's-
like
Yeah,
the
in
newspaper.
2015,
That was
you're
12.
like what? This is your
2012.
third time.
yeah.
that
so-
was 2012.
Yeah,
So that's
so
I keep saying I don't know why I'm so far
Don't
ahead.
say any more dates. You're cut off on dates.
Yeah. So yeah, that's cool.
So,
That's
so
really
this is
cool.
a huge deal, and the success and the response and the encouragement is like anything else. And you have that, it just makes everything else easier. So 2013 comes around, and I told myself I dressed up like a clown with that mask. Go back. That's one of my favorite masks ever. Immortal, CFX, they all make great masks. But if you ask me what is my favorite mask of all time, it's this mask.
Why?
Which one
I
was
wore
it?
this.
Oh yeah, that one there.
I wore this in 2008, but the sculpt is phenomenal. And I bought this at Party City in 2008 for like $25.
Do you know who made it or no?
It's probably on the mask. And there's a fun fact behind that. But I just love it, and the way it fit my face, and it felt like a serial killer.
It almost looks like
felt
you
like a-
too.
I don't know. This is my favorite
Must
mask
be
of all
the
time. People say, "Oh, it's not the Sir Henry." No, it's not the Sir Henry. Although it's probably a top 3.
Top 3, not even number 2. Close second.
Look at him. Look at him.
I'd have to think about it. I'll get back to you on that.
Oh,
That's
okay.
probably number 2.
Let's be honest.
Well, so what?
That pumpkin one's up there too.
What's
that
it
I showed
fighting
you
with?
earlier.
Oh, that pumpkin one. What about that one?
No, so the bit was, and I had I actually used this because this was in the early days as a rotating mask for our extras or whatever, and I had somebody approach me in 2015, 2016, like, "Oh my God, we used to have one of these masks. I'll give you anything you want for that mask." I'm like, "It's not for sale." "No, but I'll give you anything for that mask. I just gotta have it." I'm like, "It's not for sale." So I still have it today. And after
Oh,
that,
you still have it?
I took it and I'm like, I have to go to my closet.
Yeah. Okay.
So that is that. But yeah, so fast forward to 2013. So I did that in 2008, and I'm like, it's got to be 5 years before I do clowns again. And so 2013 comes around, and I was like, are we doing clowns? We're doing clowns. And so we did clowns, and we had like a whole circus midway set up. We built a Ferris wheel
Oh,
because
yeah,
we
that
had
was
to
a-
top the pirate ship.
the Ferris wheel. There's an Instagram
not that.
post
I'm at the end. There's no
of
fun.
you at Lowe's with all of our material.
Yeah, there's an
And
Instagram
the-
post. Yeah.
And the best part about going to Lowe's and Home Depot back then was they're like, "Oh, y'all working on a project? Yeah, we're working on a haunt." And they would look at us like,
I'll never forget too. Like I came out, I think the bill was like $160. I'm like, oh my God, it's so much. It's nothing.
Yeah.
now you look at, oh,
Yeah. Now Lowe's knows you by
Oh,
name.
only $130?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's go.
That hanger in
did I
the
get that
village.
10% discount? Or no?
Yeah.
So yeah, you did. You actually. Thanks
Yes,
for
I
that.
did.
So we built this Ferris wheel, and we dressed up as clowns. I dyed my hair, and this was the first year I didn't do a mask, and that was kind of a little nerve wracking for me. But this is year Blimpo was born, but he didn't have this name. And Josh's grandmother sewed his costume. She sewed your pirate costume too.
Yeah, she
Oh,
set up
hey.
a pirate costume and Blimpo,
But-
and Blimpo was another Goodwill find. It
Yeah.
was in the women's section.
Well, this was women clothes. This is my first experience in the women's aisle at Goodwill too.
I don't know why, but even when I was a kid, we would always shop for Halloween costumes in the women's section.
Yeah,
I don't know
it's-
what
But
about
the
it.
clothes
textures.
is
Yeah.
just
It's-
more flamboyant.
It's not a flannel and jeans, you
Yeah.
know?
So
So yeah, we did the clown, and this was another kind of witch moment for Josh, where he was chasing people with a cool voice down the street. They were just doing cool stuff. Yeah, the Blimpo voice. So that was cool. But probably the and there we did the Christmas parade. That's actually our
this
first
is
year.
my
Okay.
favorite picture
No,
of
so-
all
I'm getting a
time.
little
We're gonna have to get ahead of. So this Christmas picture. This is when we actually were Sir Henry's, and there's a whole story behind that. Where, of course, yet again, I was late. Had to come.
Yeah, you were late to that.
I was
too.
late. Had to put my costume on. Going through.
Right.
And then did I leave something in my Jeep or something like that? I had to go through the parking lot. That's a whole story.
That's a nice one. But something that people don't know, or it's very I tell them what people ask me, but the name Sir Henry. We talk about Blimpo, Peebles, and I think Blimpo and Peebles are just stuff I came up with. Actually, no, Blimpo It was Jacko and Blimpo at the house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Jacko and Blimpo was the real thing at the house.
That was the name. So I did come up with Blimpo at the house when we were there. But Sir Henry never had a name. Sir Henry had a name in 2014 when I started figuring out, okay, we're going to do this professionally.
Real loose.
Very. I was about to say that's a very loose term.
Very loose term. We can say that now. But my thing, and I've said this before, is I wanted the icon character. I wanted that icon character because that's what sets us apart.
Yeah.
Let's be real. We have the face of the haunt. There's an identity, and people might say, "Oh, your haunt's not savage blood redemption or pits of despair haunted house." To me, it's like everything else. It's a sentimental thing, and Sir Henry's Trail is the literal street I grew up on. I only called it Haunted Trail because that's what it is, a haunted trail. But I took...
I didn't know it was Trail.
Sir Henry's Trail.
I thought it was Sir Henry's Road.
No,
Ew.
Sir Henry's
Sir
Trail.
Henry's
And
Trail.
we'll talk about this in a later episode about trials and tribulations of Zach here and how he's been the same character for the last 9 years.
Y'all think I love playing Sir Henry, but
Do you?
I do. I do. There's a whole vibe that comes with it, but one of my favorite things is to create wild, crazy costumes. Maybe we'll show a few of those. I don't know.
But we can show you your 30th birthday party. That was fun.
Oh yes.
Okay.
I was thinking about our dear friend Jules, but I digress.
Oh, I thought that's who you were talking about.
No, I wasn't even talking about Jules.
He was talking about the rock star. Anyway. So I landed on Sir Henry. I'm like, I think my dad suggested it. I'm like, oh, we're just called Sir Henry. I'm like, yeah, let me do
His
it.
dad is full of... We gotta have him on here one time where
Yeah.
we just talk about
Yeah.
His dad is full of one-liners.
We got to get him on.
I don't even know what... Well, I just have to break it
There's
down.
a video from when we did the pirate stuff of him and your grandmother talking, and she's like, "Oh my God, this is crazy." And he's like, "Yeah, I asked him what he was doing. He said he's building pirate ships. I don't even ask anymore."
I love Steve.
But yeah. So and fun fact, when I was probably 8. Me and my dad made headstones in the yard out of styrofoam. I remember us going to Joanne Fabrics getting the headstones. We sat in the kitchen carving them out.
Yeah.
And the two names we put on the headstones was Buck in Ham and Sir Henry. And so that's another throwback to that. So Sir Henry's was literally meant to be. It was a predestined thing.
Yeah, and through all that, I started doing different little projects here and there, making tombstones and.
Oh, yeah.
So what
weird
year is
stuff.
this? This is 20.
So this is between 2013 and 2014.
Okay, that's what
So
I was going to say.
2014
2014.
was the first year of the haunt, and then Josh has started experimenting with making tombstones, and we discovered Monster Nerd.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy, that was a
Yeah.
whole process.
Just to foreshadow a little bit of the next episode, the first trail in Sir Henry's was literally the trail there for a while. That you guessed, if you guys came between 2014 or 2019, the trail far to the left, that was the long trail. That was the trail. And that first year we had consistently 5 actors.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and then we'll talk about that more later on. And the fun part is Zach didn't want to
Maybe
tell
6.
me he was going to do this for the longest time.
Yeah.
I asked him several times
Yeah.
because at the time our
We were always
grandfather
doing-
was living
Yeah.
at the house in the front. And I would go over and visit, and I'd see stuff in the back
Yeah.
there, and I'm like, and he just like,
What is he up to, man?
oh, no.
Because they're just like, oh, I guess we're doing it in the house anymore. I'm like, oh.
And I don't know why you didn't just go ahead and tell me.
I don't know. It
You
would have made my
could-
lic a lot easier.
I could have helped you and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff, and we could go into more of that in the next
Yeah.
episode. But he literally
Let's drop a sneak peek real quick.
kept me in the dark for the
Yeah, here you go. So
longest
here's-
time.
Here's a little sneak peek.
If you've been to the event before, you know what the front of the haunt looks like.
The main gate and all the stuff that's in our common area.
Yeah.
This is 2014. This is year 1. This is ground zero. There's 2 columns, not even columns. There are 2 sheets of plywood, a
Rip
rail,
them in half and put them together. That's 4 walls.
Yeah.
a rail fence, a ticket booth that's a 3x3, and I think some
pumpkins over there on the
Was
left.
that when
was
your mom was complaining about the amount of mosquitoes that was eating her
I think
up?
she was my mother.
Yeah,
bless my
poor mother.
But that was it. No commentary characters, no nothing. See, y'all are blessed. No.
Spoiled.
But we have humble beginnings. That's what this is all about. We wanted to give you a look into the home haunt stuff because there's so many stories, and there's a lot of nostalgic stuff that nobody knows that we got a chance to.
I mean, half the pirate ship was made out of his old childhood fort.
Nice.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, a lot of the foundation for the pirate because it had a platform you could stand on too.
In the pirate ship.
Yeah, on the bow side of it.
Cool.
Where it went up and you had the captain's quarters.
Well, because we made that for.
Oh, we made a jail cell thing too. Would open and close with a reindeer.
with the
motor.
reindeer motor.
High-tech stuff.
classic.
This is like Poison Props level stuff.
Classic.
Everybody.
But so we were gonna try and get through
gonna try
all
to
of
get
their home
through-
haunt stuff, and then year one of the trail. But
there's just so much.
there's so
because
much.
you gotta have the home haunt foundation because you gotta understand what we had to go through.
Yeah. So
He acts like he was
What I made him go through.
Yeah,
and
so-
still,
I was a
to this
guinea
day.
pig.
we're running out of time, but
Like a
next
rat.
episode we'll probably do part 2 and 3.
So next episode, well, one of these
where we came
episodes
from.
will be the part 1, the foundation, the building blocks of the home, or of year 1, and we'll do that. And we got some cool stuff coming in the coming weeks. We're gonna talk about Trail 2 in depth, the final cut. That's our vintage Hollywood trail, 1920s, 30s. That's a really cool trail. We're gonna talk about Rapture of the Deep. And that's our
pronounced every syllable in that.
Rapture of the Deep, and that's a deep sea trail. So, I'm sure there's none of you, but there's some of you may be like, "Oh, so haunted fishing worked last year." Yes, but no.
It's
because
different. It's very different.
And I mean y'all had to literally upgrade the power over there so that we can provide power to all the stuff that's going to be in Trail 3 this year.
Yeah. It's
Push, Kelvin! I can't pull anymore.
so we're probably gonna wrap up.
So we
here,
got
but-
all those stories to come.
Yeah,
Stay
tons
tuned.
and tons of
there's,
stuff.
There's so many cool stories. But yeah, we're gonna talk about those stories, but as well the 2022 haunt. This year to come as well. So thanks for tuning in, guys, to our second episode of Sir Henry's Haunted Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, share this podcast, push it out there for everybody to see. We'll see you back here next week for another exciting episode. For Zach, Josh, and Calvin, see you next time.
See you guys.
Peace.